Light as a feather, stiff as a board. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
We are the weirdos, mister.
Black as night, erase death from our sight. White as light, mighty hectate, make it right.
I myself am strange and unusual.
Cast a circle, spark some incense, and grab a cup of tea, because it's time for the Cousins Coven podcast. I'm Sharon.
And this is Wendy. Welcome back to the Coven, you guys. Hope everyone is doing fabulous.
Yes, hope you're all enjoying your social distancing and isolation. I know, Wendy, you have been having a lot of fun this week.
I have been. I've been kind of trying to create balance in my life so that I have less stress. And I actually wrote a really good article about that, about my journey on our website. If you guys want to check that out on our blog at cousinscoven.home.blog. Just kind of had some... I started off the corona with some rough times and had to really bring myself back down to basics to try to find some balance. And, you know, I found out the only way that I could do it was by living in the moment.
I think that's amazing. Like, that's the kind of shit that takes meditation to just have that present moment awareness. And from where you were last week to where you are this week, it's definitely sounds more zen and chill, because I do remember you were stressed out last time we had a conversation.
Yeah, I was pretty stressed out. But you know what helped me is that I kept on a regimen this week too. Like, I ate better, I worked out, I created, space between work and home since I'm working from home, and
had to refine the balance.
Redefine how things are in this moment, and which is something that I feel like I must do all the time. Something changes in your life and you have to restructure.
Go with the flow.
To go with the flow and not stress out about every little thing, because that's not what matters, right? So kind of helped me to is that when I was working out, I was listening to different people that I hadn't had an opportunity to listen to before, more in depth. And there's this woman that I had found, and I think I shared her with you. She does a tarot card channel. She pulls a pick a card.
Divine Waters or no?
Divine Essentials.
Bridget
Rao. Yeah.
Okay.
So the thing is that I tried to listen to other people do pick a cards. And I think for everybody's going to find just that one person who does a pick a card that resonates with you. And for some reason, her and I are connecting. And she did this pick a card a couple weeks ago. And I don't always get an opportunity, like I said, to listen to those different things. And I finally sat down and listened. And I had an experience that I hadn't had before that I kind of wanted to share. It was and this is what helped me bring myself back into balance. But she had the cards out, and I was looking, and she always says to pause, look at the cards and see which one resonates with you. And for the first time in my life, I saw a dot that wasn't on my phone or in my eyes. It was just this yellow brightness that showed up.
Holy shit.
Specific set of cards. So I was like, shoot, I'm connected. I guess I'm going to pick that one. And everything she mentioned in there resonated with me. She said I was a healer. She said I was naturally good at it, but I might find a reason to have to. She said, right now I'm trying to find a reason why I should be going to school to deal with, to become a healer professionally.
That's what you're doing.
Yeah, I know. And she was like, you may be questioning whether you should even be doing this. And she said, yes, you should, because schooling will give you a different perspective. And I was like, oh my gosh, my mind is just blown. And she was telling me that I should do some channeling and some writing.
Right.
And yeah, so it totally springboarded me into wanting to make sure that this weekend I had an opportunity to just not have any responsibility, but to take care of myself. And that's what helped create balance. I realized that I have to have personal space. Everybody has to have personal space, and you need to take time for yourself. So regardless if you're in an environment like we're in today's society, or whether we're in an environment like the one that we just came from our past, we still have to create time for ourselves.
100%.
Yeah.
That's really
So,
cool that
yeah.
you guys were on this like connectedness, and how you said you don't watch every single one or have time for every single one. It's almost a synchronicity in and of itself. Like the universe is showing you the one that you need to hear. The one that's meant
Right.
for you is the one that you happen to watch.
Right. Exactly. It was sweet.
That is really
It was
sweet.
sweet.
Yeah. That's a fun YouTube rabbit hole, is the pick a card readings. So highly
Yes.
recommend people check that shit out.
Yeah. Find somebody that resonates with you for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what other fun things have you been doing this week?
Well, I found a news article.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So this one, I guess Trump signed an order that we're going to start mining the moon and other asteroids for resources.
What?
Yep.
Is that
And
a good
it's
thing?
not just, I don't think so, but I mean, maybe asteroids. I can't see how mining the moon would be a good thing.
Right?
I don't know. I don't know about the compensation of the moon. Here, or composition of the moon. I don't know a whole lot about that because I'm not that sciencey, but I know that the Earth replenishes itself with a lot of things. I don't think the moon is that way. Maybe I'm just naive, but to me, it seemed like we shouldn't be mining.
If we start drilling holes into the moon, I'd be really sad.
Right. Not only that, we don't know what's going to happen. Like, what if we drill into it and it throws it off its orbit?
This makes me think of Fern Gully too, like just the little fairies and all the magic. Like the moon's magic is going to get all disrupted and pissed off, and why man is going there with his giant drill. Like,
right.
I don't trust Trump, so leave my goddess moon alone, please.
Yeah. So I mean, asteroids, I guess I can get behind because a lot of times we don't want them to come into our environment anyways, because they could cause destruction.
Right. Armageddon.
Right. So asteroids, okay, I guess we could take that. We probably could get some really cool fossil fuels or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't worship asteroids right now, so go for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, well that's kind of scary. I guess we'll see what happens there.
Yep. Yep. Very interesting.
I had a news article I know you'll love.
Okay.
So I got this article and it does start with a question which I do kind of want to ask you as well. So did you feel something on April 4th? So if you look back on your calendar, that was like last Saturday.
Okay.
Or 2 Saturdays ago.
I have been feeling stuff all week, but I thought it was because of the full moon.
Okay, so there's a chance that maybe you, Wendy, or the listeners out there felt like a movement in the air, a strange tingle, or maybe a subtle vibration they couldn't place, but something was up. So there was a research station that monitors the Schumann Renaissance, and they saw low frequency spikes. And they figured out that this was caused by mass meditation. Millions of people around the world were trying to end the coronavirus pandemic. And so there was all these websites and YouTube channels that was promoting the worldwide meditation mass event. And they were trying to harness the Maharishi effect, which is a paranormal effect on the normal world, which was first promoted in the 1960s by the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi. It's basically where you take a large number of people that are practicing transcendental meditation simultaneously, and it's believed they could affect a local change on their environment. And so this year, April 4th and 5th, 2020, there was a peak in the Earth's geomagnetic field, increasing the power of the Schumann Renaissance to the highest point of 76, which is interesting to note, is the peak that coincides with this mass meditation time. So I thought you would love the fact that people's minds can actually cause quantifiable change, and all these people were coming together to basically put earth healing energy, world peace, and positive change caused by the coronavirus.
That's pretty awesome. I did read something similar. I even had received a link to light a candle on the 4th, which we did, but I think I did it for different reasons. I didn't light it to stop the coronavirus, but rather we learned how to live around the coronavirus.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess the way they say it, there are two different places in the article. One kind of makes it say they're trying to in the pandemic, but they're also like making positive changes caused by it. So it kind of sounds like they're riding that wave and realizing it's bringing good change. So
yeah, totally is bringing some good changes about. I feel like at first I was not so positive about it. I was like, this is a disruption in my force.
oh yeah, there's been a disturbance, like Alderon's been blown
Yeah,
up. Shit's happening on
right.
Earth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never saw an advertisement for this mass meditation. I feel like maybe there was one that I saw, but it was
Mm-hmm.
just like an ad like before something I was watching, and I was like, YouTube skip. So like I
Mm-hmm.
completely didn't partake. I didn't know about this.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like trained in transcendental meditation. As far as I
Mm-hmm.
know, I haven't done that. Don't know the processes to get there. So I'm wondering if there was someone who was leading like a live video and you were just like following their instructions, but like I would have loved to
Mm.
have done some shit like that.
Maybe it was different for each group.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there, I've always said it over and over, there's some power in meditation. So I already knew based on some studies that I had researched in school that people could create frequencies
Yeah.
with meditation. So I already knew all that
I
just
know, I
from
knew you
school.
knew. I just didn't I just wanted you to know
Yeah.
that they just did it, so I thought you'd find
It's
that to
so
be
cool.
badass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did have some weird vibrational things going on this week, but I swear it was because of the moon and things that were going on in my own advancement.
Yeah, we did just have a beautiful
Mhm.
pink moon, full moon.
Yes. Which I need to share this. I'm super excited. So we did a whole bunch of magic, but I went out and I was just spending some time just breathing in the moon and thanking the moon. And I saw the moon's aura for the first time ever.
Okay, tell me more.
I've never seen the aura of the moon before. Like it was an actual witnessing of an aura, not like the golden circle around the moon. I could
Mm-hmm.
actually see the moon emanating a pinkness outside of it.
How awesome!
It was so cool. And then it was just like that kind of went through with my whole night. Like I was seeing my family's auras. I was seeing objects around my house with auras. And it only happened during that night of magic. I haven't been able to do it since or before.
I feel
So
like this is incredible progress.
it was so cool.
Because last time we talked about auras, I think we both were like, meh, I don't see them consistently.
Mm-mm,
And
mm-mm.
now you're just like, boom, got this.
Yeah, it was
That's
just
great.
I'm not going to say it was a fluke. It was just an awesome experience.
Yeah.
And even if that's all I get, I'm happy with
So
the
you're
way that
saying
it turned
was it
out.
just that night basically that you were
It
having
was
like
just that night. Yeah,
Mhm.
just that night when we were performing the magic. Like we
Oh.
had like candles lit all over the house. It was my son and my daughter joined me this time. We lit candles. We did oracle readings for different people that we knew. I
Mhm.
was doing mass oracle readings in a way that I'd never done oracle readings before, and was sending out messages to all the people that had asked me to do it for them. And it was pretty amazing. It was pretty amazing.
I feel like I was probably included in that list,
You
right?
were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like,
Felt like I was tapping into each person individually as I was doing the reading.
So do you want to talk
Yeah.
about my reading or like how it went for you?
It's up
Like
to you. Like, I mean, I don't want to give too much away, but
yeah, you don't have
because
to
it's
give
your
away too many
cards.
personal but what's the experience like for
So
you?
my experience was that I had lit a candle for you,
Mm-hmm.
and was it earlier in the day we had done a FaceTime, and then
Yeah.
we were just kind of talking about it, and I on the fly my family and I kind of knew that we wanted to do something, so we lit some candles. I sat down, lit the specific one for you, asked the candle to just do its magic, to work its magic for what you needed. And I did kind of this small little Reiki session because we still had some Reiki work that we had to do, but we couldn't do it in person because of the virus anymore.
Right.
So
Remote.
So I decided to use the moon's energy to do a remote Reiki session, which I did. And then afterwards, I did these oracle cards and I laid them out and I asked the cards, what does Sharon need to see right now? And then I could feel myself like pulling your energy into the cards. It was like I was almost taking it in and putting it out. So it was like I had to take it in like I was a transistor, and then I put it into the
Mm,
cards.
like a
And then
conduit.
yep, a conduit. It was the first time I've ever felt the energy of that. So each person that I read for, it was that same situation. I would light the candle, ask the cards exactly what they need to see, what this person needs to see, and what they need to know right now.
That's so
And
exciting. I love the fact
yeah,
that you're channeling these messages. So,
it's
did
pretty
you
cool.
call upon specific spirits or deities to help you with that?
I just asked my guides and any guides that wanted to help me along the way. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
call anybody specific.
Okay.
Um,
Kept
I
it
think
open.
right. I think over the weekend, this past weekend, I've been trying to work with fairies a little bit.
Good time
Um,
for that.
yeah, so spend a lot of time outdoors. But yeah, for the full moon, that's basically what happened.
Did you move the fairy garden outside or is it just down for right now?
I just took it down.
Oh,
I
okay.
put it away.
That's okay.
Yeah,
I knew you had
sorry.
changed up your altar, so no, it's
Yeah,
your altar space. You do what you gotta do.
had to build a new altar. So I left the fairy garden there for like 2 weeks, two
Yeah.
and a half weeks. And then I was like, oh no, I need to change my altar for like, I just felt it necessary. And then I pulled out a box in my garage and pulled out of these cool things to add to our altar. It was nice. Love it.
I had like a similar process this week where I just redid my fireplace and my mantle to have all my crystals and crystal grids, my sage, my incense. Put like an oil diffuser on there that has like a nice LED light. So it's just giving me like really nice Zen vibes. And I was doing my
Nice.
oracle cards with you when we were doing like a video chat earlier this week that you had
Mhm,
mentioned. I was pulling some
mhm.
cards and I was like, you know what? I really want to like see these cards throughout the next week to help me manifest everything that I need to get done, like setting boundaries and getting, being positive and having protection, just all these like kind of images just to subconsciously be doing their magic, seeping into my brain and whatever, doing their thing. So I have all my oracle cards just on the mantle with my crystals, and it's just been like a nice little happy place. So I've been lighting incense like crazy. All the time when I'm home, I'll just like keep lighting them and lighting them, keeping the air
Yes.
clean and pure, and
Yeah,
just like trying to keep high vibrations in my space at all times. And then
I
today
love
I've got
it.
my little amethyst bowl next to me to try to like get that third eye energy. And I've got our Pisces candle burning. So I feel like I'm trying to get channeled in, tapped in,
Yes.
ready to like deliver today's messages.
Yes. How exciting.
Yeah.
Love it so much.
Yeah. So should I get into our zodiac sign for the day, or did you have other stuff to get
I
to?
just have one more thing.
Yeah.
So in school this week, first of all, I have to say thank you so much, Sharon, for editing this past week because it allowed me to do
Yes.
some schoolwork. And so in school this week, in one of my lessons, there was a quote or kind of this little paragraph that was in what I was reading that I just wanted to share with everybody. And so it says, what matters most in our life is not the mistakes we make, but how we live our life overall. People will always make mismakes. People are always going to make mistakes. But what counts is what we do, that we do not practice making mistakes through carelessness or by not growing as individuals. It is good and noble to live life in such a way that we do not cause others conflict. In other words, do no harm. After all, what right do we have to cause others pain? Life is hard enough. We need to ask ourselves, do I make life easier or more difficult for others in general? Am I predominantly a taker or a giver? If all we ever do is take, we eventually deplete those around us. We lose friends, spouses, partners, and relationships, and then blame others for abandoning us. So the reason why that I wanted to read this is because for me, in order to find balance and living in that moment, I had to ask myself, was I a taker or giver? It really resonated with me. And it showed me that I was taking more than giving, and I really needed to be in the middle of that.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah.
think that it's shows good character to know and to admit when you are being like a taker.
Mm-hmm.
I think that I've been on both sides of that, and I like that it also mentions do no harm. It always makes me think of like the Wiccan principle.
Right.
Um, what is it? Do what thy will, do no harm. I can't remember what it is right now. And harm none, do what I will. Something like
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
Yeah.
also seen that like in a more modern take, do no harm, but take no shit. And I feel like sometimes
Yeah.
I have to keep that one in mind for myself because
Hmm.
I can become a bit of a doormat where I allow people to take advantage of me and I don't have boundaries. So I can't let them deplete me. And so I'm struggling with that kind of in its own way, you know? So finding
Hmm.
the balance between giving and taking is a hard one.
Yeah, for sure. And being honest with yourself is really hard sometimes,
Yeah,
right?
to see
You're
it from
just
an
like,
outside perspective.
right, right. Because first the tarot cards were calling me out on my shit, and then the oracle cards were calling me out on my shit, and now I have to call me out on my shit.
God damn it, cards. Don't you hate that?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that. I think that's
Of
enlightening
course.
too. It sounds like you have some really badass material that you're going through right now in your
Yes.
curriculum.
Yes. I'm loving school so much. Okay, talk to me about Aries.
Yeah, I try to take myself back to the zodiac school because
Yeah.
I myself do not know enough about the other signs. I am a Pisces narcissist, I guess. So if you've been listening to our podcast, you know that we're trying to go through each sign as we go through them in our zodiac. So right now we are in Aries season, which takes place between March 21st and April 19th. And the Aries zodiac symbol is the ram, which it's named after the constellation. The element associated with it is fire. The ruling planet is Mars. So those two things, of course, go hand in hand. And Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So it's in the first house. And that's pretty much how these born under the sign see themselves. They kind of see themselves as first. They're very passionate, motivated, and they make confident leaders who build community with their cheerful disposition and relentless determination. They're uncomplicated and direct in their approach, and they can often get frustrated by exhaustive details or unnecessary nuances. And an Aries will not shy away from new ground. They're often called the pioneers of the zodiac. And whether or not everything gets done is another question, though, because they do prefer to initiate rather than to complete. This is an active sign, a very masculine sign, or you could also just say they have yang qualities, and they are oriented towards assertiveness and engagement with the outer world. So as a Pisces, I see this as very opposite. We're very like introspective into the spiritual world. We don't see
Yeah.
ourselves as first, and maybe that's because we're the 12th house of the zodiac.
Hmm.
And Aries' strengths is that they will be ready to take action and will tend to direct when it comes to expressing themselves. They'll be direct, which I think is a really good thing, especially if you had like a partner. I would prefer them to be really good at communicating and just get to the point of things. So you never have to guess where they stand. And they'll always let you know. So to give people like an example of a ram or an Aries, think of Robert Downey Jr. He's an Aries, or Reese Witherspoon. So that's just a little tidbit on the iceberg of the Aries.
Okay, thank you. I
Yeah.
have had some good and bad experiences with Aries.
I'm
Being a
sure you could say that
Pisces.
with every sign, but I'm
That's
curious.
true.
Like, what do you have any like examples?
So I know for sure my mom and one of my sons is an Aries, and those I can say with my son we've had some headbutting times, but but it's not just because he's a boy and my child. It's also because he's an Aries and he's kind of stubborn.
Oh,
And
okay, so they're stubborn.
yes, a little stubborn. And I have dated a couple of Aries.
Did you like their directness?
And well, no.
Okay, how is it really? How is it really?
It was more like they put themselves up on a pedestal and I was never good enough to be on the same level. And that was just my personal experience. I'm not saying that all Aries are like that. That was just my Pisces fragile heart did not take kindly to the Aries men.
Yeah, no, I think when you look up Pisces and their compatibility, Aries is not one of them.
Right.
But Aries sound like really cool. I like that. Like, it's something I can't relate with, like wanting to be the first, or the like raising your hand 1st, or saying I'll trek that trail first. Like, I cannot relate to being that type of person. These sound like the people that are trekking Mount Everest, running marathons, starting up companies, and then selling them. You know, like they sound like very proactive people, very Iron Man-esque. So good for you, Aries.
Yes.
Shout out to the Aries listeners.
I'm all great friends. Every zodiac symbol makes a great friends for us Pisces. I just don't think I would romantically be a good fit for me.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll keep that advice going forward as the single representative of the Cousins Coven podcast. Yes. I'm going to just block all Aries from the DMs.
All right.
Yeah. Should we move on to today's main topic?
Yes, I'm really excited about this one. We're talking about healing magic and herbs and things that we can do to heal ourselves. So
yes, which is always, I think, topical, but especially in today's times, we really wanted to revisit the topic. And I know I really wanted to really focus to just how we can heal the mind, body, and the soul. You know, look at the whole big picture. I know we've talked about a lot of this stuff before, so I'm going to try to look at it in different ways, because this is just a topic that I don't think we could ever get to in one full episode.
Right.
But we're going to try to talk about some new things today.
Yes. So it's just crazy that you said mind, body, and soul, because that's exactly where I found out on my balance, that I needed to balance my mind, body, and soul individually in order to become overall balanced. So I was like, sweet, whatever you're talking about is going in with what I wrote on our blog. We're in sync once again.
Yes, this is awesome. I've been trying to channel, everything, what should we be talking about? So it sounds like we're channeling the same energy. We've got the same message. So I'm excited to jump in. Did you want to start things off, or what are you thinking? Where should we start this conversation?
So let's talk about our spirit. Let's talk about spiritual healing, because in times we're in this really rough time right now, right? We're going through having to change our daily lives, our schedules, having to take everything in stride that comes at us, even if it's in a negative form. So we have to guard ourselves and heal ourselves spiritually and emotionally and physically. You know?
I feel like that can get kind of put on the back burner for so many Americans. It's always just go, 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 keep your head down and keep pushing. You know, don't really check in with yourself emotionally wise. Don't even make yourself sad, bear and grin it kind of thing. But I feel like this is the perfect time for all of us to take a moment to be zen and check back in with ourselves and deal with our headspace.
And take it forward. That's my thing too, is it's I don't want, when our life goes back to some semblance of normal, I don't want to stop being this balanced person. I want to keep trying to live in this balanced life, because I feel like I achieve more if I do. So let's talk about ways that we can heal ourselves spiritually. Obviously, meditation. I started doing the automatic writing over the weekend, again, which I hadn't done in a while. And that Pick a Card reading was talking about that. And it was talking about how not only did I need to do automatic writing, but talk about it in a public forum that people would listen to me.
What? That's so specific.
I know, right? And so I was like, how does she know? Does she know that I do this? But she said I needed to write it and I needed to say it. So I was like, well, I wrote all that stuff out on our blog and now we're going to be talking about it. So whoop, whoop.
Check and check.
Yeah. So she pointed me in this right direction. So the automatic writing really helped me. It's kind of like, for me, it was channeling spirits. I wanted to hear what they had to say. I was going to read them, but I think I'm a little bit shy about it because it's kind of personal. But, it was just talking about I was just writing. So I was sitting on the back porch. I was listening to meditation music. I was out grounding myself and taking in the automatic writing. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's basically a spirit contacting you on this auric level that's out there in the aura realm, and you're connecting and they're giving the information to you so that you can write it down on paper, and then you can go back and read it later and see what you've written. It could be poems, it could be songs, it could be art, it could be anything. And that can help heal you spiritually, because you may be getting information from your spirit guides that you can't otherwise hear.
Right.
So
it is
that's
opening
what
up the
automatic writing.
channels, and I
Mm-hmm.
think just allowing messages to come out. Even they could even come from just your subconscious if you want to like be a disbeliever in the spiritualism of it all. Like there's value in automatic writing no matter how you want to slice that cake. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
letting it flow and see what can come out of you. You could find inspiration for a new story. You could find out that you still have some deep-seated trauma from your childhood. You could
Right.
figure out so many different avenues that it'll take you. Like I know when I've done automatic writing in the past, like sometimes like 5 issues would all come out and I'd be like, all right, we'll work with this over the next 6 months. Like we can get this shit done, but it's
Right.
gonna take some time.
Yeah. It can't be healed overnight.
Not always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I've also seen how there's been research and studies into gratitude journals, and that if you actually
nice.
have a gratitude journal and write in it before you go to sleep, you'll sleep better. And it's been scientifically proven to like make you a healthier person. Just to be optimistic, you're less likely to be sick. And I honestly believe that, because I've been around some negative people in my life who were like sick every single day or complain about
Mm-hmm.
ailments every single day. And it does just feel like it's just this negative goo that's just like attached. And I don't know, sometimes you're either just an optimist or a pessimist, and sometimes that can change from season to season, day to day, week to week, year to year, whatever. But you can just see how optimistic people get through their day happier, better, and healthier. Like, I just think it's obvious.
Yes. I love this so much. This reminds me that I too was trying to see things more optimistically this week. So any situation that came up, typically, I hate to admit this, but when I was looking at things, I was looking at it from a different fear kind of way. So if I was looking at a situation with work, I was looking at it in a kind of negative light. And then I just flipped the switch and said, okay, let's look at it with different eyes. Let's look at it with a positive spin, with this optimism, with love. And it just made me look at the situation differently and see it for what it was.
Yeah. I think that's really powerful when you are strong enough to look at it from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the majority of my life, I was always looking at it like from my really small lenses of how it affects me and my emotions. And I didn't even see myself clearly. Like I didn't even have self-awareness of how I came across or what people really thought about me. Like I just had zero self-confidence. Like, I don't know. I think it takes balls to be able to pull yourself out or zoom out with your little lens and then look at it through a different way. So good for you.
Right. Yes. Good for you too.
Yay.
Awesome. I love this so much. This is so great, because it's like I've spent so much of my life, I feel like, in this negative pit of despair.
Right.
It's like,
it feels like it's easy to be like that.
Right.
Or for some of us, we come out like that. We come out the womb with this negative bullshit attached.
Exactly. Yeah. Like tethers almost that are tethered to our ankles, and we're like shackles of pain on us. And once you can release all that, it feels so much better, man.
For sure. Yeah. Do we want to talk about how we could heal the body?
Yes, let's talk about that.
Okay.
So we have several different things here. So I wanted to kind of talk about healing baths. So have you ever had one?
I've done like baths? I would say at the time I don't think I would call them healing baths, but it's like, oh, definitely. I've done magical baths with like different bath bombs with different oils, different herbs, and then just using Epsom salt. Epsom salt is my favorite, especially when it has like eucalyptus or lavender in it. And that shit heals your muscles. It heals your bruises. It heals your scars. So yeah, I'm going to count that as a healing bath.
Nice. I love it. So it is recommended that if you know that you're going to do an actual healing bath, that you should shower beforehand and afterwards.
And after.
Yes. So
I'm too lazy. Tell me why though.
I think that might be from a woman's perspective. Like I usually only clean one area because I don't want a bunch of oil getting up in my hoo-ha and herbs, because I don't need to get an infection because I'm really sensitive.
You know
So-
what? That does make sense because I've used like homemade bath bombs that were like witchy bath
Mhm.
bombs, and I was
Mhm.
covered in oil. I was like,
Yeah.
honestly, I've got rosemary up my butt crack and I've got oil
Right.
everywhere. I need to rinse again. So I guess I have done that.
Yeah, just instinctively, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So beforehand, the reason why you would want to do it is so that you can get all that stuff off, leftover residue from anything that could be on you.
Mhm.
And you want to come into this bath clean. And when you're cleaning yourself beforehand, you want to take care. So think about the things that you want to get out of your bath. Think about the things that you want to use in your bath. Use your specific oils. Do some research. Make this bath about whether you need to heal your body, your mind, or your spirit, or all three together. And make that bath what you need for you.
Yeah, I highly recommend Epsom salt. I don't feel like you can
Mhm.
go wrong with that, but there's a lot of
For
stuff on the
sure.
markets that you can use.
Right. Yeah. And
What are your
definitely different
go-tos?
oils. So I do like to use flower petals.
Ooh, I was thinking that. That's so weird.
Yeah,
I don't know why
so-
that came into my head. I feel like we're super connected right now.
Totally connected. I love roses. Some flowers I am extremely allergic to, so I have to be real careful because I'm allergic to so many of them. But fresh herbs are always good. So rosemary is good in there. I have so many herbs written down, but I wanted to talk about those in a minute.
Okay, yeah, same. I have some more herbs too later.
And yeah, so just definitely I use Epsom salt. Sometimes I use the scented, sometimes I don't. You can also take the Epsom salt and make your own scents on it by using the different oils. So soak the Epsom salt in the oil, add in the herbs, mix it all together, and then put it in your bath. You can do a spell where you while you're adding the stuff to the bath.
Mhm.
I always light candles. I always light incense. And I just have a good overall connection with whatever god or goddess or spirit I want to work with at that time.
Yeah, I love making bath time into like my own little magic spa where it's just like, okay,
Mhm.
we're gonna light this incense, we're gonna put some eucalyptus up in here, we're gonna have some smells, we're gonna change the energy, like just
Mhm.
getting super zen, lighting some candles. I know we don't
Mhm.
all always have the time for that, but at least once a week, I think it's a good little treat to
Nice.
really
I was going to
cleanse.
say once a month, but once a week's even better.
Honestly, I mean, we're all home right now. I think that
Right.
bath time, it could be some alone time that you can get.
Yeah.
Give yourself that 30, 40 minutes just to yourself
Sure.
and really relax.
Before all this happened, I was typically doing a spiritual bath on the new moon. I don't know why it felt like that I needed to have some new beginnings, so I thought I would start each month off,
Hmm.
lunar month off, with a spiritual healing bath.
That's cool to phase it, do moon phases.
Yeah.
Can you imagine, like, back in the day, they only took baths, like, on different moon phases? You're like, it's the full moon, I get my bath!
Yeah.
They're all sharing the bath water.
I can see that. You're like, we're not going to get a good crop unless we don't all take a bath at once, and then we dump the water on our crops.
Oh, God! Right. Even back in the day, they were selling hot chick bath water.
Probably. Oh. Well, let's talk about herbs a little bit.
Yeah,
So-
I don't think you can leave out herbs when we're talking about healing.
Exactly. So I did have just one little disclaimer, and then it's basically make sure you know what you're allergic to, make sure that you know what your diseases are, or if you're pregnant, and research which herbs you should be allowed to use, because some of them will affect your disease negatively, or it could cause harm when you're pregnant. So make sure that you're really checking the herbs before you use them.
That's really good to know. And like, also, if you're going to be doing metaphysical healing, I don't think that means that you cut out a doctor. We're not saying if
Right.
you have cancer that you can heal yourself with sage, but like,
Right.
this is just really good alternative stuff. And a lot of herbs can actually make a difference on your body. So that's just kind of what we're highlighting today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what are some ways that you like to use herbs?
I like to drink tea. I think that's an easy way to get herbs and their power. I
Mm-hmm.
also really wanted to like talk about mental health and healing for a little bit
Okay.
too when it comes to using the tea. Like you can use tea to help with depression, anger, happiness, and even bring confidence. And when
Mm-hmm.
you are depressed, like you already have low energy, so you don't really have the will to want to do spell work to figure out what's going on with your shadow side, or even to address your shadow side, or even just the will to do a spell could be too much. But I
Mm-hmm.
think you can figure out how to make yourself a cup of tea. So and the tea is giving you the energy. As the witch, normally we're trying to be the conduit, connecting to the earth, connecting to the spirit, and having all this energy. But if you're
Mm-hmm.
depressed, you can really just rely on the herbs to give you the magical energy that you need. I could also say the same for crystals. Crystals are something that just have a vibration and a power to them, so you could
Right.
also incorporate those. So if you want to just use like specific teas to help you with your depression, I would really recommend that. You could even take it in a vitamin form like ashwagandha or St. John's wort. Those are really good
Mm-hmm.
for helping with anxiety and depression. But you could also, again, just drink St. John's wort in a tea. So I was reading that St. John's wort actually works kind of like a standard antidepressant medication. And research suggests that it increases the activity of the brain chemicals such as serotonin that are thought to play an important role in regulating your mood. You could even do just like chamomile tea. I feel like everyone has chamomile tea around their house, and
Mm-hmm.
that alleviates depression. It also helps with sleep problems. It's used for relaxation and to help with anxiety. The same could be said about peppermint and lemongrass. Like if you just Google herbs for depression, anxiety, whatever you're going through, you're going to find a laundry list of them, and you can figure out what way you're happy to take those and
Mm-hmm.
use those. You can even use them in satchels or do magic with them and bless them before you make your tea if you really want to go all into it. But I really think that herbs are a powerful tool, and you could just make a simple tea, or you could really just enhance the herbs like with your own magical ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can even, like, I don't know about you, but I am confident enough with my doctor and I know her well enough that I can ask her, hey, look, I want to try an herbal approach to fighting this specific thing that I'm going through. Can we work on that? Can we do that?
That's
What do you
cool.
recommend?
And
Mm-hmm.
she'll tell you the tea.
Yep.
That's
Yeah, not just
awesome.
tea, but she'll tell me pills and stuff, and I can make a tea out of them. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
I kind of have a DIY approach, and so a lot of times I'll just Google my problems, Google the Great
Mm-hmm.
Oracle, or sometimes Amazon, and just be like, what does Amazon suggest for this ailment? And I'll just learn a bunch of new things. Like, I haven't tried ashwagandha yet, but that has been coming up for something for anxiety. I just
Mm-hmm.
recently started taking elderberry to try to like fight coronavirus and try to stay healthy. So like I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely in a mood for vitamins and all that because I think they're a little more convenient. So when I'm on the go, I'm just like taking all these pills.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all just natural things, you know. I'm on no
Yes.
antidepressants. I'm on no anything. I'm not saying that if you are, that means anything. This is just my life path and what I've decided to do with it, and where
Right.
I'm taking it. So
And you took charge of your own situation.
trying.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I actually had a list of herbs. So this is kind of funny, but years ago, like in the early 2000s, maybe the late 1990s, I started ordering these books by mail. But it was like this specific one. It was like on the path to enlightenment. So it said that you could order these things. And do you remember? I don't know if you remember this because you guys might be too young, but they used to do these things where you could order by mail and they give you like recipe cards. Well, it was like that, but for metaphysical stuff.
Oh my gosh, that sounds super 90s. Like, I remember stuff like that for all kinds of things, like mail order CDs, mail order
Uh
zoo
huh.
animal catalog things, and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's just how we used to get our information pre-internet.
Exactly. So it made me break out that book, and the books themselves were called Mind, Body, and Soul.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah. And so, anyways, I was able to find, I have these charts. It had these chart cards in there. And so it would tell
Oh,
you
I love
what you needed to
that.
use. Yeah. So it was like, use these herbs for this. And so I stuck with ones that, these herbs will help you when it comes to being sick. So I just wanted to share it with you. You guys might already know this information, but just bear with me. So the first one I had was basil, and that one is supposed to strengthen your immune system. You can actually mix it with an oil and eat it. So, put it on your spaghetti, put it in your food, or even just use it on your skin by making a salve with oil so you can use it as a lotion.
That's so awesome.
Yeah. And then fennel is good for anti-inflammatory. So if you've got any pain inside of you, basically you could just chew on fennel itself, or you can add it into food. It's kind of like a seed, but it's also an herb.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then you're going to find this one really hilarious. A catnip. I didn't think that humans could use it, but apparently you can make it into a tea and it helps with headaches and head pain.
I would feel weird because my cats would be jealous. Like, it's the one thing
Right?
that they get. They'd be like, Mom, no.
They're like, come on. You're like, a little for you, a little for me. Would you like to lick my cup?
Yeah.
Dandelions. We all have dandelions in our backyard.
Yes, I love that dandelions are super healing, and I wanted to get my hands on some dandelions and like learn how to make my own tea. I've heard that they can even heal, like they can heal cancer. Like they just have these amazing researches and studies about dandelions.
And apparently you can use it as an antibiotic.
Mm-hmm.
So it said in my book to make it into a tea. So I like that you said that. I remember as a child making dandelion salad.
Oh, that sounds so gross, but I'm sure that's actually like super healthy.
Probably. I remember going outside like with my friends and my mom gave me these paper plates or whatever. And I was like, okay, let's make a salad. So we totally put it in there. I made my mom look to make sure nothing would make us sick. And my friends and we all ate like salad of grass and whatever was outside.
Oh my God, that sounds like you were having like the most hipster lemonade stand, but it was like a dandelion salad.
Yeah.
That's like some Portland hipster stuff right there.
Right.
It's a mind, body, soul salad.
Yeah.
You're so innovative.
Okay. Next one on my list is thyme, which is really good for congestion. So apparently you can make it into a tincture and rub it onto your chest or your sinus area. Be very careful not to get any in your eyes. But that's supposed to really help open up your breathing ability. So opens you up. Mm-hmm. Sage is not just good for the air. You can use it for your sore throat. So if you mix it with tea and apple cider vinegar.
I never thought about putting apple cider vinegar in tea.
Yeah.
That probably helps cut the nasty ass taste.
Mm-hmm. And you can also gargle it and spit it out.
What?
To use it as gargle it. So mix it with tea, apple cider vinegar, gargle it, spit it out. Good for your sore throat.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So just like, when you go to the store and you get that chloroseptic stuff.
I don't think I ever have. I've gotten chloroseptic stuff.
Oh. Yeah. Oregano. That's good for cough and congestion. Make it into a tea or put it on food. Violets. That's good for a respiratory infection. So if you're struggling with any sort of infection, make it into a syrup. I'm not sure how to do that.
Right? I'm like, what?
Yeah, you can concoct it into a syrup, use it to help with your respiratory infection.
That sounds like something we need for the corona. Let's get Amazon Prime some that violet syrup.
Yeah. Starflower. Just research that one. It's very beautiful, but it's great for bronchitis. You can add it to a salad. Just eat that right up and it will help you open up the capillaries in your lungs so that your bronchitis will slowly dissipate.
That's another one I've never heard of. See, I am not an herb witch. This is very new to me. I have like 1% knowledge of the earth's properties and what they can give to me. So this is great for me. I'm loving this.
Nice. That's great. There's this stuff called feverfew. That's good for aches and pains. So you can make it into a tea, or you could make these patches. So I know I've taken feverfew before. It's kind of this long, stringy grass type looking thing, but you can put it and make sort of a hot pack. So if you put it with some rice, Have you ever made those little warming rice packets that you can put in the microwave?
I
Add
had some,
feverfew
but
in there.
I never made any, so.
Gotcha. Okay. I remember I used to make them. I used to only put cinnamon in it until I found out about feverfew. So you can just add that in there.
Wow. These all sound like
Yep.
crazy fantasy things. I'm like, what is all this? I've never heard of any of this.
Caraway, that comes in kind of like a seed form. Usually people add it to food. Apparently that helps with earaches as well. And so you can also add it in with some oil and let the oil take on the, pull out some of the healing properties of the caraway. And then you can put just a tad bit in your ear, but you don't want to use too much.
How do you spell that?
Caraway, it's Caraway.
Okay, that's what I thought. My brother has an earache. I'm going to be Googling this.
Yeah. Try not to get the seeds in his ear. You might have to flush it out. Like with the bulb, you know, those little blue bulbs that they have for babies? You can use that too.
Okay.
Suck it out.
I can't see him allowing me to do this because I told him to put an onion on it and he's like looking at me like I was crazy. It's like, I'm not putting an onion on my ear. I'm like,
That's hilarious.
I swear by it. It's family recipe. Put it on yourself.
Yeah. Wild sunflower. That's good for respiratory relief. So you can make it into a tea. It's going to help you be able to breathe a little bit better. There's something called a cardinal flower. It's very beautiful. That one actually relieves sneezing when you're sick. So you make it into a tea. So all these things that you can make in tea, you can use a little bit of each one if you want to. So if you're really sick, you can make a huge concoction.
Yeah, that would be really fun.
Mm-hmm.
Add some honey in there for taste.
Yes.
And for the benefits of honey.
Exactly. Because honey is really good for a cough too. Like it will help you stop. Once your throat is coated, it could help you stop coughing.
And if you get local honey, it helps you fight the allergies of the local land.
Exactly. Yep. Motherwort is another one I came across. That one is for a fever reliever. If you make it into a tea, it could help bring that fever down. Valerian root helps with diarrhea. You can make that into a tea as well. I've actually used that one before and it works pretty well.
Oh, nice. Good to know. Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Parsley is an immune booster. So this one parsley's like found everywhere, I feel like. Add it to your food, make it into a tea, use it in your bath, add it to your lotion. Your body will suck up all the nutrients it needs to. You can even just chew on parsley. That will help. Mints ease congestion, which everybody pretty much knows that. Adding it to your bath or your tea or any of your lotion, rubbing it onto your chest in a homemade salve would be good.
Mm-hmm.
Ginger and limes used separately. You can use them for cuts. So ginger is an antiseptic and lime is an astringent. You can use them with or without a carrier oil and use it on your cuts, bruises, that kind of thing. Pepper causes a warming effect. So if you make it into a syrup, it can really warm your chest up. You know that how sometimes people in the old days, they used to give children brandy for their coughs. You could make a pepper syrup to give you the same sort of effect.
Yeah, don't give your kids brandy.
Cedar wood is an expectorant, so you could make it into a cough syrup and it will help bring out all that phlegm in your throat and your chest. Mm-hmm. That's all I had.
I mean, that's a really good list. I appreciate all that because I think that is something once you start going down the path of, you can really empower yourself and help your family and really get, the power of the earth and help harness it, use it.
Right. Exactly. And if you're not able to get out of your home in situations like this, a lot of times we have some of these things on hand as it is, not just as witches, but as people who cook or have a yard.
Yeah.
We can pull all that stuff out of there and use as much as we can.
Did you want to mention any crystals or should we just jump into healing magic?
I do have a bunch of crystals, but it's really up to you. I feel like we've talked a lot about this before and anybody can research online probably to get to get the rituals.
Yeah, it's kind of how
the crystals.
That's kind of how I felt too. Like I was like, I could laundry list the crystals, but we have talked about it. If you want to just name like a few shout outs of your favorites.
Okay, so obviously clear quartz, that's considered to be kind of a master healer, so you could use it for a lot of different things in order to heal yourself. What's one
Mm-hmm.
of your favorites?
For me, I said it 1,000 times. I'll say it one more time. I love selenite. I highly recommend
Hmm.
selenite wands. It will clear and charge your other crystals. It'll clear and charge yourself. When I use them, I can feel the vibration of their energy. Anyone I've ever used it over, they can feel it. It like sends a shiver down your spine as you wave it from head to toe. Very, very
Yes.
powerful. Love the dang crystal. Get it in your life.
Hmm.
It's cheap, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What's
So that'd
another
be
one?
my shout out for crystals. Did you have any other?
I guess there was one that I learned about that I hadn't before, so I can say pyrite. Like that
Okay.
fake gold looking stuff. I guess it's if you wear it, it helps promote positive thinking.
Nice. So that's kind of what
Yeah.
we were talking about earlier, is being
Mm-hmm.
optimistic and how that takes care of
Mm-hmm.
your soul portion.
Right. I
So
was laughing because
lovely,
I was like,
lovely.
pyrite's like a fake gold, but it helps you bring positivity.
Yeah. You're like,
uh,
but you are fool's gold. I guess just because it doesn't have monetary value doesn't mean it's not pretty and shiny.
right. Exactly. All
So
right. What
let's
else we
dive
got?
into healing magic, is what I'm thinking.
Yes, let's do it.
So magic is obviously one of my favorite topics. I love talking about it so much. I know we've talked about the moon lots, but I think it's worth mentioning that when you're low on energy, you are wanting to tap into the earth and the outside forces, and the moon is one of those things. So if you want to use the full moon to really harness yourself and draw down the moon into yourself, that's a very empowering ritual. It's a very healing ritual. So I think whenever you're doing magic, like we've talked about, you can correspond it to a certain phase and amplify your energy. Another just ritual I want to talk about in general that's good for the soul would be a cord cutting ritual. And this is something that helps release the past. It releases thought patterns or even habits. And it's something that you can perform for yourself, which is recommended because whenever you do magic for yourself, it's more powerful because it's feeding off your energy and your emotions, which are like, tapped into the situation. I think it's better than having someone else do it for you. And it's basically to sever an energetic cord between yourself and another person. Let's say if you want to release a past relationship, or if you just want to release a habit or a thought pattern, you can try to release that energetic cord between you and that. And in order to do this, you just kind of want to get into a sacred space, whatever that means to you. It could be your altar, it could be outside, it could be in the bath, wherever. And like all things we recommend on the Cousins Coven podcast, you could be very casual about how you're going to do this and just do something really quick. Or you could go high ceremonial and get candles and all the corresponding things and colors that you want and do it that way. I would recommend calling on your guides, your gods, your elementals, your ancestors, whatever it is that you work with. And you can take an actual physical cord to represent your energy. One end would represent yourself, and the other end would represent the person or the thing that you're trying to release. And as you're doing this ritual, you could use a knife, a scissors, an athame, or even a flame to sever the candle when you feel like you've reached that energy peak and put all of your intentions into it. Because you have to remember that magic is really what you put into it. It's about your
Mhm.
process. It's not going to work unless you really pour in your intentions and your belief. And
Right.
when you're ready, you could cut that cord, and it's supposed to release that
Hmm.
energetic connection
I would suggest writing with it too.
during the process.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that if you're trying to cut your cord with somebody else, maybe you can also do that twofold and write them a letter about the things that you're thinking
Yeah,
and then burn that.
get it out for the last
Hmm.
time or whatever, because sometimes
Right.
there's always just something lingering in your head, a moment, a
Hmm.
memory, a conversation. And if it's a
Hmm.
thought pattern or a habit you're trying to get out of too, you can just, how it no longer serves you, how you no longer need it in your life, and how you're going to let
Right.
that go.
Now, just remember, this is something that I've been learning with the Reiki process is that if you're removing something, you are now left with a spiritual wound. So you have to heal that wound in order to completely heal yourself to really get that, because the cord represents cutting something out of your life, but now there's a hole that you have to heal inside your spirit, if that makes sense.
I really like that.
So
Yeah, round that out.
Yeah. So make sure that you heal that wound with something. Don't just fill it with nonsense. Heal it at whatever that healing process looks like for you. I know for me, I've been pre- kind of mentally looking at it as a wound that I have to sew up like I'm a nurse or something. So I'm performing some sort of spiritual
Operation.
operation. Yeah, exactly. And, make sure to continually put love into that wound.
That's really eye-opening for me. I feel like this is like the second time I might have let that really sink in when you tell that to me, because I don't ever think about that. I just think, boop, I'm done now. But you're
Right.
right. There is something. There is
Yeah.
something there. You got to heal it up.
Right. Yeah.
So that's really
Gotta heal
wise
it up.
words, really wise advice to end any kind of ritual, I would say.
Thank you.
Another thing I kind of want to talk about too was like shamans and the traditional of shamanic healing.
Yes.
So if maybe you're not someone who is into all this healing modalities and doing it yourself, and maybe you just want to like go to someone who's in your community or something like that, if you are that lucky that you have a shaman or a curandero that you go see. But it's basically someone who has the belief that the way we react emotionally and our beliefs, they all stemmed from our inherited genes. It's just like this ancestral locked in archetypal patterns that influence humanity as a whole and a collective unconscious. So it's just this thought that all of our baggage is stored in our conscious mind, and a shaman can help permanently change these thought patterns with their magic. And magic is really the art of causing change in accordance with the will. So the efficiency of basically this ritual getting done kind of depends on the depth of the magical power of the shaman and what they've gained. It's also them working with ancient spirit guides, and who are they working with? Their ancestors. And this practice encompasses really a lot of different cultures when you look at it, all over the earth and the societies. Different cultures have different words, different guides they work with. There's some people who work with the jinn. There's some people that work with dragons. There's all these different kinds of different guides that are ancient and people have been working with for centuries. And I didn't even know that people actually did dragon magic until today. And they are known as like keepers of the earth energy. And so I thought that was really fascinating. And there's just always something to be learned from looking at different perspectives of magic and different forms of gods, you could say.
Yes.
And so the main practice of the shamanic healing is kind of connecting with that creator God energy and realizing that you are connected, you're one with them, and that you too are a creator, and that you can create, but you can also discreate. So you can discreate whatever's ancestrally tied to you, whatever your emotional cords are that were brought to you into this life. The shaman will help disconnect that cord and really heal you. And I think that's a powerful thing. And I've never experienced that, but I've heard people who've experienced stuff like that and how amazing it is to witness firsthand.
I need to learn how to do that.
Yeah, why don't you just become a shaman and live in a tent?
All right, I'm adding it to my list.
Yeah.
Become a shaman. I'm just going to put it on my vision board.
Mm-hmm. I think that's
You
great.
think I'm joking, but I'm writing it down.
Like I've already manifested it as it is, so let it be. Yeah. All right. I'm down.
All right.
I'm definitely down. So I think that healing magic is something that we all have the power to do. I think, like you've mentioned before, we all have the power to learn Reiki and connect with that energy. Like if you want to call it chi or whatever you want to call it, but it's something that we all have the power to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that so much. I'm so happy that you talked about shamans, because they too were in that reading that I got.
Oh, cool. So I'll come
I'm just like, wait a second.
You're like,
you're also talking about shamans. Yeah.
I'm really glad it popped up in my research of healing, because I think that ancient practices and connecting with the earth's energy is something that has been lost through mainstream religious outlooks. And I think it's even something that's been shunned, or even like to some become laughable. But I think it's that core of, I don't know, humanity and coming together and really that higher belief system that calls to me. I also think that candle magic is another simple thing you can do for healing magic, like using white or green candles is always great, or maybe even black to help remove and protect. But there's so many
Mhm.
ways you could go about healing magic.
Absolutely. Because you may need to be healed, not just in your heart, but in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just allowing yourself to see things from a different point of view, or allowing yourself to see things more clearly and not in a cloudy state of mind, if that makes sense. Just being your true authentic self, because even, I don't know about you, but sometimes I even lie to myself. So
Because the
I don't want
ego
to do
or
that.
pride, where
Yeah.
it's like someone calls me out on something and I'm just like, for weeks I'll think about what they said and how wrong and rude they are, and then like the third week I'm like, maybe I am like that. Shit.
Right. Like, oh, and then you're mad because they were right.
Yeah. I think in the moment
Yeah.
I'm mad that they're right, I deny it, and then eventually it simmers in. So,
Mhm.
you
You're
know,
like, dang
yeah.
it.
We're all onions, we got layers, and sometimes
Yeah.
stuff has to marinate into those layers to really sink in or sink out.
That's so funny. I'm like, so you talked about dragons. Now you're talking about onions. I'm going to watch Shrek.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah. My references go deep into Shrek land. Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know if we had more to add to healing today.
I know that we had this little ritual that we wanted to talk about. That's about it.
All right. So I found some fun magic for us to do together on podcast, since we are social distancing and
Yeah.
unable to practice together. And this is something that I'm hoping, as our listeners listen to, we're just radiating the positivity and the magic out over and over for everyone who listens to this forever.
Yes.
So I want to take us and the Coven and our Coven listeners to the beach, to where we can zen out and do some awesome little spell together. So I found a Gaia healing spell so that we could practice some earth healing. And this is all to send out positive healing vibrations to our planet. And it's said that it's good to perform this during an eclipse moon or in a waxing moon phase. But today we're doing it whenever you find it, because that's how fate is working. And
Yes.
I just want you to imagine that we've arranged seashells on a secluded beach, and they're forming a circle, and we're all standing in that circle together. And as we face the ocean, we're going to light a blue candle with smoke and flame.
This spell's begun.
O goddess of the stars,
Moon and the sun,
let the healing power begin.
let the earth be whole again.
The earth is my mother.
And I am her child,
The earth is my lover.
free and wild.
Heal on the outside,
Heal within,
land and sea,
fire and wind.
with love sincere,
I chant this prayer.
to make mankind begin to care.
Let every sister and every brother,
Heal the wounds of the great Earth Mother.
let the healing power begin.
Let the earth be whole again.
Heal on the outside,
Heal within,
land and sea.
fire and wind.
So mote it be.
All right.
All right.
So we're going to link all of our links down below in the show notes, including this spell. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this earth healing ritual.
Yes, thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure to email us with any of your questions at cousinscoven2@gmail.com. Make sure to find us on Instagram and Facebook, and go to our webpage and go to our store. We've got all these great things for you to come and find us.
Yeah, any support for our merch will go into just paying for the website so we used to host all of our episodes.
Yep.
So you can find those in 2 locations. We'll be also on Podomatic for our new stuff. Our older archive episodes are on cousinscove.home.blog.
That's right.
And I think that's it. We'll be posting new episodes every Wednesday.
May you guys find happiness in your heart, love for yourself, and join each other. Blessings to all.